Alright, so welcome. My name is RYONBO and today I'm going to tell you what exactly I'm doing and what's going to happen. So I have two laptops here with me today. So this is the Lenovo Ideapad Gaming 3 and this is the Dell Latitude. Let me see. I have the specifications here, but yeah, I'll just mention them. So this is the Ideapad Gaming 3 15IAH7. I'll put any other details either in the video or in the description below. And here I have a Dell Latitude E7470. The issue I have today is I had this as a secondary machine, but it's been giving me issues because it does not have a working battery. So why does that affect me? So when I have it plugged in and it functions normally, it can't exert extra power where it finds it necessary to do so. If I connect it to an external display or I try to do something that requires a bit more power, what will happen is that it will just randomly shut off and stay off because it doesn't have the battery. Sometimes when I plug it into power, the CMOS battery is dead, so it will force itself into diagnostic mode. So what I have to do when I plug it in, I have to press and hold this power button until the power goes off while it's plugged in, and then press it again for it to come up. Then it will come up with a set of options that by selecting one allows me to boot normally, and that's how I would get into using this laptop normally. It has gotten to a point where that has gotten more difficult than it has to be. So that's why we're here today. That's part one. Part two is that I have this system that I can upgrade even further. Yes, upgrade even further. This has a 2 TB SSD, but it also has an extra M.2 slot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the SSD from this system and basically put it in here, and I'm going to show you the whole process. I have a set of tools with me, so I'm going to be using this prying tool, which you probably can't see. This plastic pick, it might fail on me, it may not, we will see. I also have a set of screwdrivers here. But for the sake of time and simplicity, I'm either going to use this Phillips or a smaller Phillips based on what I have to do. So I'm basically alternating between two different screwdrivers and this plastic pick. While I'm doing so, I'm going to keep track of all the screws like someone that has OCD, because I can do that. So let's begin with this one. Right, I start by taking off all the screws at the back. They're captive, so they don't necessarily come out. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? Almost there. All right. And just like that, they all should come off. So now I'm going to use this pick. I'm going to take my time and pry the back open. And just like that, we're inside the Dell Latitude. So here's the SSD on this side hanging on for dear life. I don't know how well you can see that, so I'll bring it up so you can have a quick look. It's M.2 NVMe 2230, I believe. There's no battery, so there isn't necessarily a need to discharge the unit, but there we go. Just in case, I'm gonna press and hold here for about 5 seconds. Right. Then I'll come back here, I'll put you down, and I'll take this out. Now you're right there. Good. I don't really need anything else from this system, so I can just put everything back. So, sorry. In a case like this, I normally have my ESD strap, but I'm doing my best. Have the ESD strap whenever you're having any form of doubt, to prevent any particular situation where you may be afraid of electrostatic discharge. Sometimes it may not seem necessary, but to be absolutely sure, I always encourage other people that take on a task like this to do as such. Right, good. Now we're done with this unit and we can take it out of the way. And now, this is the laptop of the hour, the Lenovo Ideapad Gaming 3 15 IAH7. It has a 12th gen 12500H Intel processor. That's 12th gen. Windows 11 Home and such. And it has an RTX 3050 Ti just to start. Right. I have it set to turn on whenever I open the lid. So let's get started. So first we're going to go to the back. Right. So to open this one, it's kind of tricky because you have the shroud on the back here. But I'm just going to go ahead and start by removing these screws. Now, be mindful now that these screws will have different sizes, so you will need to keep track of all of them. So what I normally do, I set them out in a pattern, either on a magnetic mat or on a clear table, as I'm doing for you now. Right? And in case you're wondering, yes, the unit does turn on. I tested all of that before I started this video. To wonder how well you can see that. Yes, you can see it well. All right. Then we're going to go for the pick. Not yet. There's still more to do before we attempt to open this thing. You remember this shroud from earlier? Alright, we're not done screwing around. Alright, so we have two here. We had two here. So these two screws and these two screws hold the shroud in place. So now we're going to remove these two. I'm not sure how well you can see that. One here and one here. Right. That's one. And that's two. Right. We have an HDMI, an Ethernet, Type C, and the power. Now we're going to go ahead and from the back, we're going to take the spudger thing, work in between the creases. We're going to work our way across. Right. Then we're going to hold the sides. We can take our time. If it feels like the plastic's being strained, you can go over it again until it feels loose. But don't dig too far into it while you're trying to pry. Take your time. The plastic can break, and if it breaks, you'll have problems later. Right. Still feels a bit tight. Right. Good. Now we're coming along. All right, so if you look at these rivets here, they hook under. So I press down on this side to push it down before I pull it back so I don't break those little things. Off with the shroud, we're on one side. Not quite, still have more to do. So if you look closely, we have one screw here, we have one screw here, we have one screw here, and then another one. If you're not looking properly, you end up breaking one, and that's not what we're all about. So now we're going to take our time, and we're going to remove those four. So I'm going to do it in sections. So this is one section, and these are one section by itself. I do it this way because I don't like to lose track of these annoying little screws. So we have one. I put this like so. Then we have another one. These are the longer screws. I don't know if you can see them from there, but these are longer screws than the two that were holding the shroud down. Then we have two more on the corner. These two, personally, I believe are the easiest ones to break. Because we have to remember, they might be borrowing from the Lenovo Legion design, but it's still an Ideapad. You just have to be extra careful. Come on. Come on. You can do it, don't be shy. Come on. Oh, you don't want to come out. Alright. Alright, I got you. Oh, you're still going. Good. I'll put you right here. Alright. Now we can get the spudger. Can turn it to the side. Alright. Notice I'm being careful not to open the laptop because it's set to wake and lit and something like that. I could have gone into the BIOS and disabled that, but for the sake of time, I don't have to. So if you look here closely, this is where the groove, sorry, this is where the groove is. So if you look here, right, come on. Right, so the groove is right here. I will just take our time and work it all the way down, and it should start to lift. Right, so I'm going to set it down to do it the rest of the way. Just follow the groove all the way around. Oh no, it's blurry again. Good. Just follow the groove all the way around. Good. Over. So there. Right. There we go. Then we can set you down and we can lift you up and you should come right off. Clear, clean, simple. Good. Now we have the board. These are the two vents. This is the metal shroud for the DDR4. This is the battery. This is the CMOS battery connected to the board. This is the 2TB NVMe SSD, M.2 NVMe SSD. And this is the slot where the SSD is going to go. So then we grab our SSD. Not yet. Remember, disconnect the battery before you do anything else, just to be safe. So let me sit down and do this part. And so I do not have raccoon-like fingers, but it is enough. And just like that, I disconnected the battery. So if you want to take an extra precaution, you can open the system while it's off and press and hold the power button that's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Can close you again. Right. Set you down. Good. Now then, we can take our SSD. We can connect you here. But would you look at that? We don't have any extra mounting screws. I'll be right back. Alright people, so we're back. So I went to find a screw for the M.2 SSD upgrade, so I can just put everything back. So what I did was I went back to this system, and for the sake of time, I just went ahead and I took the screw from this section right here, which held down the Wi-Fi card on the Dell Latitude. So that's where the screw came from. It is right here. Good. So where were we? So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this screw, which I almost dropped. I'm going to take this screw, going to push this part down and carefully place the mounting screw in its appropriate place. Right, so be mindful. if you ever buy one of these systems, specifically if you ever buy them used, and you're trying to screw the second SSD in, but notice that it flexes the M.2 NVMe connector, there's a good chance the mount might not be under it. I wonder if I can bring this up to you so you can see it. So, alright, so it's right, the silver part right under that black screw. You will need that mount. Right, now we're back. It's blurry. It's very, very blurry. Alright, we're good again. Alright, so now that this part is dealt with, we can do a quick visual inspection. Does anything seem off? Everything seems fine. The speakers seem fine. These seem fine. It has not been overheating or anything. So we should be fine. So you're probably wondering, Ryan, where is the conductive strip that should go on top of the SSD? So I won't be using this as a boot drive, nor doing transfers too often. So that is the risk I am going to take because I have no idea where it is. But if it were under normal conditions where this was the boot drive, you would need to have that conductive material placed over it because it is a Gen 4 SSD. I believe they're both Gen 4. But we should be fine for the most part. So now we're going to inspect the back cover to see if anything's out of place. The vents don't seem particularly dirty. I don't see any traces of excess dust. Everything looks fine. Right. Then I'm going to go ahead and reconnect the battery. So I'm going to be careful here and just run it back. When I connect it, I need to feel a click. Alright, slight, but it was there. Alright, so we should be good again. Before we start putting anything back together, we're just going to lightly place this over. Alright. Alright. So we put the back part first, and then we make sure everything clicks. Right. Don't push too hard though. We're not gonna screw everything down yet. And now we're going to test and make sure the system boots. So I'm going to go ahead and open the system without the shroud. And before we screw anything back together, right, I'm going to open you. Alright, we're going to press power. Right, it comes on. Do we have, right, there we go. BIOS backup. Hold on. Where is my charger? I need my charger. Can't do this. Where are you? Right, so I'm going to grab you really quick. I was supposed to plug in the charger. It should be fine, but when it does those things, I like to be careful. Right, so many cables. Hold on. I didn't know it was scheduled for a backup. Oh, it comes on. Alright, so you're good. Okay. Still gonna plug you in. Do I? No, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I should censor this stuff. Okay. Alright. Alright, so everything seems to be working. It still boots from a 2 terabyte by default. Let me see. I'm going to go to some stuff. Right, it does not show up here. So what we are going to do now is that we're going to go into partition manager, create and format hard disk partitions. We're going to select that option. A prompt should come up here, but it doesn't. So what we're just going to go ahead and do, we're going to delete all the partitions, delete volume, right? Right. Okay. I can leave those for now. I'm going to go ahead, see if I, no, I'm not gonna do that. New simple volume. All right. And now the drive comes up. So we're good for the most part. Now we can shut the thing down. Yep, shut her down. I'm gonna wait for this light to stop blinking. It has stopped. Right. Now we're going to go ahead and put all the screws back in, particularly in the same order that we removed them. So the last out first in approach will be applied here. These were the last two that we took out, so those are what we're going to start with. Right, righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? Then we're going to put these in, which are these long screws here. Right, those two are in. Now we're going to put the shroud back. So we're going to take the shroud. So we're going to take the shroud from earlier and put it back. Right. Pull it down. Right, snaps right into place. You remember when I said to be careful to not break the little tabs on the shroud? To hold the sides, we can take our time. If it feels like the plastic's being strained, you can go over it again until it feels loose. But don't dig too far into it while you're trying to pry. Take your time. The plastic can break, and if it breaks, you'll have problems later. If they were accidentally broken for one reason or another, you would not hear that snap, so it would be harder to tell if they actually went on properly and such. It's not that big of a deal, but it might lower the structural integrity of the device overall. And since it's basically a glorified Ideapad, you probably don't want to take that risk. So now we're going to put these two screws back on. So we're going to put one here, right? We're going to screw that in. That's one. Then the other. Right, those two are in. Now we're going to put these two in right here. Right. Zoop, 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 zoop. Oops. Oops. That's one. That's two. Right. All right. And just like that, we have a successful M.2 NVMe SSD upgrade of a Lenovo Legion Ideapad 3 15IAH7. I'd like to do more of these in the future, but for now, this has been RYONBO. See you again real soon. Ah.